We had this pretty unusual situation where Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt went on X and out of nowhere posted this screenshot of a text message conversation that she had with a reporter. This is the Huffington Post White House reporter, SV Date. She posted this screenshot in what looked like an attempt to just dunk on the reporter, mainstream press, whatever. The screenshot shows her texting with the reporter. The reporter had asked ahead of what was possibly going to be this meeting between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin in Budapest, which, as we now know, is not happening. They've walked that entirely back. That aside, he had asked, is the president aware of the significance of Budapest, that Russia had promised to invade Ukraine? Legitimate questions about why is this meeting being held on this ground? She writes back, your mom did. And it's supposed to be apparently funny. So he writes back, is this funny to you? And then she writes, it's funny to me that you actually consider yourself a journal. You are a far left hack who nobody takes seriously, including your colleagues, blah, blah, blah. I think that she was supposed to come across here as strong, as, fending off the liberal media, the fake news that Trump, so vigorously loves to hate. But I looked at this, and I think that if they were intending for this to be a dunk, this was a big miss. This looked to me like a very legitimate question asked by a reporter as to why the president is going to meet with the Russian, authoritarian leader in Budapest. And this looks just like a legitimate question that instead she's turned around and made herself, it's really sort of embarrassing for her to do.
It's very embarrassing. And a couple things on this. One, if you look at the question, it was very professionally asked. It wasn't asked in an antagonistic way. It was like, I'm writing a story. We're reaching out for comments. Here's my question. Was anyone aware of the significance of Budapest or who picked it or whatever it was? And she says, your mom did? Like, is she a 5-year-old? Like, even 5-year-olds are more mature than that. If my 5-year-old said that, I don't have a 5-year-old, but if I did, and they said that, I would say, hey, that's not how you talk to people. And so I guess the White House press secretary has fallen below that bar, which is shameful, really. And then the second thing is, these are the people who complain if they don't get press inquiries, right? You never reached out for a comment. You ran this story without even bothering to check with us, blah, blah, blah. And then she says in this text message chain, not only does she insult the reporter, so it's like, what's the point of even reaching out to you when you're not even, responding in a serious way? She could have just said, we have no comment, but she responded in this childish way. But anyway, she says to the reporter, do not contact me, basically. Stop texting me. And it's like, okay, so Karoline, do you want reporters to reach out to you for comment? Or do you not? You can't have it both ways. You can't dunk on reporters for not reaching out for comment and then dunk on reporters and tell them, don't reach out to me. It's one or the other. And reporters have to reach out for comment. So, they're going to continue to do that. And by the way, Karoline, it's your job to respond to requests for comment. And, the shocking thing too about this story, John, is that it's not like SV Date posted this himself. Like, look at what Karoline Leavitt's telling me, or Leavitt. She posted it as a brag.
This stuff is all shocking, but it is the implication, the downstream of how Donald Trump continues to attack the press and to try to single them out. We've seen all these administration departments go after reporters repeatedly on that platform to try to put a spotlight on them, to criticize their work. And all of this is being done to undermine their credibility so that when reporters put anything out there, when news organizations report information about what's really going on behind the scenes here, they can portray it as liars and to not trust it. You can only trust us. You can only believe us. And I think that's what we're seeing here. And we're seeing all these agencies, including also now at the Department of Defense, which is run by Pete Hegseth. Hegseth this week rolled out his new, I don't even know what you call it, far-right influencer propagandist mouthpiece replacement for the press corps that has long been at the Pentagon. So last week, all of the Pentagon correspondents left the building after refusing to sign this document that basically was a pledge that they would only produce and report information that the government had pre-approved, even unclassified information. You couldn't go on social media and even just suggest that you were interested in reporting on what's going on at the Pentagon and communicate with others, which is what reporters do every day. They were effectively banned from that and actually set them up for a potential legal fight that if they were to violate, that they could actually lose their First Amendment rights to report, which again, this is such an unprecedented moment. So those reporters are all gone. And now they've been replaced by far-right podcasters who are not journalists, like Tim Pool and others in this space. And what we're seeing here is a blatant and obvious attack on the press, on information and truth, and replacing it with people who will just say whatever the administration does is great. And we're watching it happen right before our eyes.
Yeah, I think that's the alarming thing is we often focus on the attacks, I guess, on the reporters. But simultaneously, this White House, this administration is doing everything they can to prop up the disinformation artists who will advance corrosive conspiracy theories with the aim of promoting Trump and promoting his administration. And so at the Pentagon, for instance, it's not that these people are only far right and they have this ideology, but look at who they put in, like the Gateway Pundit, Jack Posobiec. These are conspiracy theorists. These are people who have advanced lies about things like the 2020 election. Jack Posobiec was involved in the Pizzagate scandal, which resulted in actual, violence, I guess, or like shots fired at the pizza place in Washington, D.C., the Comet Pizza. I can't pronounce that other word. And so, like, it's a serious thing. These are the people that the administration is telling the public to believe, to go to for your information. And simultaneously, they're bashing and they're doing everything they can to delegitimize actual reporters who are engaging in a very, I think, with at least in that text message, SV was engaging in a very thoughtful, courteous way with the White House press secretary. Can you imagine if Sean Spicer, by the way, had come out on day one of Trump 1.0 and there was a question and he responded, "Your mom"? Like, I think at that moment, like where he obviously was not truthful and talking about the crowd size, but that was like a major moment at the time. And we've come so far along that now the White House press secretary putting this kind of behavior on display is barely a blip. It's just like expected. And that's off. I mean, Sean Spicer actually looks somewhat like a professional compared to Karoline Leavitt, who just looks like a, I don't know, partisan hack.
True. It's so true. All they want to do now is own the libs. You don't have to answer to anything. Just attack, own the libs.
Thank you for watching Power Lines. For more analysis and insight, subscribe to our YouTube channel down below, like this video, and you can watch more of us right over here.